is definitely going to be beneficial when they go into Legacy's matchup. Because a lot of times you always think about it, well, maybe that will dishearten them going into the next few games. No, I think it'll make them stronger. Galio is a great ban going up against Tally because they just want to be able to play away from mid. They want either a Twisted Fate, Galio, something to that nature. They can play towards top lane and then start to get the game rolling quickly.
All right, looking at the bans here, I hope Lilia is on a long-term lease.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's going to be living on that red side ban list for pretty much ever. Galio and Caitlyn banned away next to her. Lucian, Renekton, Orianna, all banned away here as well. First pick of the draft is the Nidalee for the side of Legacy, and then we look across the board, and Zoe and Volibear are quickly locked in for INTZ.
So, Babip have a perfect Nidalee play. So far in the summer split has been 7-0. It's been a first pick for him as a team. Nidalee is just such a she's just such a strong jungler that she can take nearly any matchup. Once Lilia's off the board, really you're comfortable no matter what, and keystones can change depending on the matchup. So I love that they got that for themselves. They had first pick and they knew that they didn't have the ownership of Renekton though. Nidalee Renekton has been something that they've been playing during the playoffs. We've seen how strong it has been internationally. And so they recognize, yeah, we could go for Nidalee Renekton. We know for certain INTZ will take that away from us and we just want to deny it off the board.
Okay, Nidalee and Camille and Nautilus all selected for Legacy before we get to the second part of the bans. Not really a lot of flexibility in these picks. We kind of know where they're going to go. We're still looking at the two big carry roles of mid lane and bot lane carries to be picked up in this second half. That's what INTZ will be banning towards, but still one more pick for INTZ before those bans come through. Do they want to try to match one of the roles already picked by their opponents?
I think usually going towards AD carry has been better for teams because they know that it could start being nailed down in the next pick and ban. They go towards the Bard though because, once again, Redbird's Bard has been strong domestically. And it's just really good within the composition. If you look at how they're going to be playing up against Nidalee, you want to be able to catch them out. And Bard, Zoe Sleepy Trouble Bubble, all of these things actually work so well in part to each other, and they don't want to get it banned away from them before 4-5.
Yeah, the Bard is banned so frequently against INTZ. I said it in their lobby, in their draft against Mad Lions, when Mad Lions banned it away. It is the most banned champion against INTZ. People do not want to play against this Bard on this team, but this time around, Legacy seems to be confident enough that they can deal with it. Now, Jax is banned out, Twisted Fate is banned out. One more ban from either side. Akali is the choice here for INTZ.
Doubling down on just like how good Redbird is on the champion. When he went to the super server, now of course my computer, being able to bring that in from China, I have to have access to that nonsense. I'm
Secret
good.
weapon.
Got it. You know, has played 31 games of Bard in the super server and has a 60% win rate. He's been doing really well. That's by far his most played champion. So he wants to be able to use it to carry these games for his team. So I love the fact that he's able to get it even in tougher matchups. And if you see how this game is being played out, I think that that's going to be a Volibear top lane because INTZ wants to be able to play to top side. They've showcased what is a very, a decent weak side bot lane for Macau and Redbird. And now if you put up the Volibear top side, I mean, you just want to have full counter pick and you want to be able to see the full composition coming in from Legacy. So INTZ trying to set up Sheeny for success here.
Tristana locked in here as what I'm guessing will be the AD carry next to the Nautilus there in the bottom lane.
Okay.
So one champion left to pick. What will it be here from Legacy? We saw the Ezreal come through.
Oh, I actually think that's a mid lane Tristana because it's a great matchup versus Zoe.
Okay.
Zoe never wants to use her ultimate anywhere near the Tristana. It's just an easy, slow on your jump on Trist, and it just blows you to pieces. So that looks like it's going to be, yeah, all right.
Well, looks more like an AD carry now that the set's locked in.
Makes sense, yeah. Seeing that it's going to be a set mid lane and an AD carry Trist. But yeah, I've seen the Tristana being played mid lane before in this specific matchup, but I think that it really works well for Tally's strength, being able to set up for ganks for Babip. Babip, the best thing for a Nidalee player is you want to have setup. You don't want to be having your spears kind of be ducked and dodged away from. So you have a Nautilus in the bot side of the matchup. You have, Camille helping you out top side. And Nidalee and Set have just been a great dual lane coming in for mid jungle. We've been seeing it a lot, of course, in North America going into the playoffs. I've seen it in solo queue countless times. Of course, it did get constantly chipped at in nerfs. People just, like, whenever set got played throughout the mid lane, it's now less and less tankier, but the real strength is the Nidalee. So I'd love to see it here today.
And they must have heard you saying you were expecting the Volibear top. They were just trying to make a liar out of you, my friend, with Vladimir as the last pick over on the side of INTZ, expecting to see that one go into the top lane and volley into the jungle.
All right. So you do want to at least hover for the Vladimir to keep him safe early. Camille and Nidalee, that's a good dive on towards the Vladimir, but Vladimir can outplay it with the pool that he does have, and they're just going to try and play out for these larger team fights. So good drafts, I think, from both sides. I want to be able to see a little bit closer once we get in the game. All right, nice fist bump there from the coaches.
Got to be observing the reduced physical contact compared to years past, but I'm excited to see these two teams go head-to-head. Like we already said, INTZ had a tough opponent in their first matchup of the day, having to open up the competition against Mad Lions, who a lot of people would consider the favorite of the group. However, now they're up against a much more manageable opponent in Legacy Esports. And for people who don't follow the OPL, I got some fun stats for you here as well.
Hit me.
Onto the Rift. So this team, when you look at their performance this year, are looking pretty darn impressive. Back-to-back OPL champs in the 2 splits over the course of this year in 2020. They would have gone to MSI if MSI would have happened, but unfortunately we all know the story that happened with that. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's look at 2019, because in the second split of 2019, Raz, if you know this fact, you're not allowed to answer it, but if you don't know it, I want you to guess. Do you know what their game record was in split 2 of 2019?
I'm not allowed to guess.
Okay, you're not allowed to guess. For those of you at home, go ahead, have a guess. I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds.
Give them time.
1 and 20.
Yep.
1 and 20, under a 5% win rate. One of the most abysmal possible records you can have. Honestly, the second worst result you could have. The only way to have a worse result is to literally win no games. And to go from that to then back-to-back split champs and just dominating the region is very impressive.
The reason for that is the rebuild of the team. Because at that time, I remember watching the OPL at the time, always have a bit of a tie to that region. Legacy did have, one of the worst rosters at that period. So in the offseason, being able to get Raze, by the way, who I, widely regarded as the best AD carry within that region standing right now. And in fact, even before the exodus in the Oceanic region, I thought Raze was just the best AD carry. He's just insane. So the fact that you're able to get a team around him with Babip, Tapoon, I mean, just listening to Spawn in the desk, being able to sing their praises, like they got a moneymaker of a team. So for the organization to be able to get that talent, you're right, had a perfect year because of it.
Man, I just love how passionate Spawn is about the OPL as a region. This is now a Spawn appreciation cast. Like, the amount of support that man has for this smaller region.
Endless.
The amount that he cheers for them and wants to see them succeed is just some of the most wholesome stuff in all of League of Legends esports. But enough of the wholesome. Let's get into the fighting. As we've got INTZ starting their jungler off at the red buff across the board. You can see Babip doing the same thing here for Legacy. So let's see if these OPL representatives can make their mark on INTZ. For those of y'all who didn't catch the first game or didn't remember or just selectively ignored the information, remember INTZ is a team that we're looking to really pop off with some big plays from around the 10 to 15 minute marks. They're also a team that really depends on their solo laners to get some work done. Both of these guys, Envy and Tay, have quite a few solo kills under their belts.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the time they try and set up Tay to succeed with a pick that they can play through, right? Mm-hmm. Like during the regular season or just even the playoffs, they've played Renekton, Volibear, Camille, Wukong, Urgot. These picks that are very easy point and click. Like you can, if you're Shinny, you play towards top side, you'd get an easy kill. This time going towards a Vladimir is a much more scaling option as we see a pause taking place in the game.
Yeah, pause happening right now. We will update you guys with information on the source of the pause, how long we can expect it to last whenever we have that info.
Yeah, we got you.
I'll relay that over to y'all as soon as we get it. But talking about what we're looking at between these two teams here, we already mentioned in the game of Mad Lions versus INTZ that INTZ can be one of those teams that doesn't exactly need to accelerate things super quickly. That 10 to 15 minute zone is a hot spot for them, but other than that, it's not like this is some sort of hyper aggro LPL super server is a way of life type of squad. And when you look at Legacy Esports is the slowest team in the OPL. Both of the squads battling in front of us right now have a low amount of kills per minute on their record. But one thing that we've seen so far in the couple of games that we've been presented with today is some of these trends that we're observing from the teams playing in their own regions are not the case in their games here in the play-in stage. Teams are switching things up and adapting based on what they're expecting to have to change for international play.
Yeah, tougher competition. Watching Legacy kind of roll over the competition in playoffs and just in the regular season, I'm always worried of the teams at the top. Right?
Yeah.
The teams that are just taking wins and cannot be stopped. Because, of course, internationally, everyone will be like, well, now that they're in a national event, right, they can keep this momentum going. Like, they have a lot going for them. But domestically, that's because they were just so much better than their individual talent.
Big fish, small pond.
Exactly. And so when you're finally challenged to play the game well on a fundamental level as a team, then you start to get picked at when you're in that final exam. So that's why I'm always worried about, teams like Legacy, and honestly, teams like INTZ, as you said, like big fish in a small pond, and you don't really get to scrim against the big boys across other regions, right? Like if you're a PCS team, thank God, like you can scrim versus the LGL team, you can scrim versus the LCK teams, and also the LPL teams. You always have the ability to really get information across the regions, and you can also just play within that solo queue. And so that's always kind of the weakness of those regions is where you're currently at in the competition. So I always look towards players who've been to an international from those regions and what they can take away from it. When they can go back domestically and kind of recalibrate, okay, we need to be smarter as a team. Like, I may be a strong individual player, but that's not going to get me a championship internationally. Like, I need to do more as a team so we can be ready for it.
Absolutely. Update on the pause for everyone out there. It appears that Legacy players are reporting some issues with in-game settings that are now being investigated. So hopefully we can remedy this pretty quickly. Considering it's not a hardware issue, we haven't had any unfortunate water spills or errors with mice or anything along those lines. So
God bless that.
We're already back into the game. I love a short pause. The best pause is no pause, but if I got to have a pause, keep it short and sweet. We're back into the game, 2.5 minutes in here. Tay on the Vladimir. We saw him have an incredible performance on the Urgot in their game against Mad Lions. He was the one who had so many kills. Why are you doing this to me, game? I know the sepia filter is lovely, but I prefer the full, vivid colors.
You know what? I'm interested, and let's keep doing this. You know, every single time you get back on the story, you got to take a step back. A new pit stop.
It's a lot of pit stops, man.
There's a lot of gas stations on this road.
It's like one of those rest stops off the highway that for some reason has 3 different McDonald's and 2 gas stations. It's like, why do we need this? It's all at the same rest stop. I'm not going to have myself a quarter pounder and then drive 3 feet and say, boy, I wish I had a quarter pounder right now.
I'm not going to lie. I'm always really sus of those kind of locations, right? Like, do you have the same workers? Like being a mechanic on one end, but also making great KFC chicken? Like, I'm just saying, like, I need to know what's happening behind the scenes for me to trust the product.
I love the ones on the side of the highway that are a combination of 2 different fast food restaurants, because I have friends that are into that really janky stuff where you order the main dish from one and the side dishes from the other and mix them together. I'm like, sir, Taco Bell sauce does not belong on a burger. I don't care what you tell me. I am not going to be doing that.
For me, the worst thing is, and this is just for all the Canadians out there, for me, I remember visiting a Tim Hortons plus Wendy's restaurant. I'm like, first of all, why am I getting a chicken sandwich with my donut? That literally makes 0 sense. The business does not cross over.
Maybe it's specifically designed for the brunch hours for people who come in and can't decide. So then you can have yourself a coffee and then a large, like, quadruple decker hamburger meal.
You have a lot of problems if you're ordering that. All I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. I feel like the only one that needs to order that is me. I need some pounds, but like everybody else, you got to really look deep inside yourself to make that decision.
All right, well, as we're waiting for the teams to get back into the game here yet again. Oh, see, all I had to do was caster curse it. All I had to do was set us up to talk about.
Don't say that now. We're getting another pause.
And now we're back into the game. Nope, I'm saying this is good enough. I'm embracing it, my friend, as Sheeny might just be embracing a jungle invade here. Bobbit trying to clear out the Gromp. Could have a smite fight, but the Gromp ends up being taken down there. Bobbit tossing out the spear, won't find any damage. Remember, Nidalee does not want to have a long, extended fight with Volibear. She goes for the spear, but considering it doesn't connect, no reason to chase after him. That top Scuttle Crab will be surrendered over to Sheeny, and Bobbit just continues farming the rest of his games.
And it's a sight to behold when the Zoe is able to get priority in the mid lane and help out the Volibear on the top side of the map.
Yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful when
it's nice
when Zoe roams to help her jungler instead of popping balloons.
And even the bottom, even the bottom lane. Look at this! Look at this help for the jungler. Look at this.
They are facilitating this man being able to control the entirety of the neutral territory. Now Sheeny walking into the brush. Level 4 versus level 4 here between the junglers.
You might be able to flash on this one. You would be able to take Babbit flash, and I think that's worth it.
Here you go. Stun coming down, damage going through. There you go, flash for flash.
Yeah, this is what you hate to see if you're a Nidalee player, because you should be taking control of this matchup. But there's just so much positives coming in from the INTZ lanes that you're getting double Scuttle Crab now, and then you're getting yourself walked in on. Babbit thought he had an opportunity to take bot Scuttle. He got bad information, honestly, for him to be walking in that location when Scuttle Crab was already secured. So that just sucks now. If you're Babbit, you know, the sole purpose of the Nidalee is for you to get an XP advantage, and you're already off to a bad start.
Yeah, it's one of the best feelings in League of Legends to get both those crabs at the very beginning of the game. And you talking about having both the bottom lane and mid lane moving over to make sure Sheeny's able to secure these. As good of a feeling as that is for the jungler with it behind him, it's such a helpless feeling on the other side to know that there's no way to contest that. Especially if you're a jungler. You're saying Nidalee should be able to dominate the matchup. Playing a powerful, skirmishy jungler that wants to be able to get ahead and build those advantages early, and losing both Scuttle Crabs feels really awful.
And the Vision is only going to double down on that, because the push that Envy have gets a ward on top of Raptors. You can even see the pings on top of it. They know where Babip is and where he's pathing. So it's just these small points that really do snowball into a larger advantage. If you're playing like an Olaf or a Nidalee, a champion that really requires being able to get an early lead, and you find yourself in a deficit because of, one, the draft you can make a point of because it's essentially INTZ getting priority in multiple lanes, then Nidalee is not able to do much about it. But on top of that, it's just them just being ill-prepared.
Yep. Now, you can see the roam coming out from the Bard. Remember, we've hyped up the Redbird Bard quite a lot here, my friend. I want to see some big plays from this guy as the game moves forward. I want to see a lot of roams. We know how adept Bard can be at that. Hanging out in the Drake pit right now. You can see some question mark pings from the side of Legacy as they see the Bard moving down there, clearing out that pit. And as soon as it's cleared out and Bard makes his way back to the lane, now it's some 2v2 action breaking out here. Ezreal and Bard, they got some good poke power, but if Nautilus makes the engage, the all-in will go the way of him and the Tristana. As Bobbit is down here, Redbird over into the Drake pit now to make sure Sheeny's able to pick this one up without too much interference from Legacy. Earliest Drake of the day by far. The previous two about 11 or 12 minutes. Flash engage coming out as the Nautilus starts off the fight. Over the wall comes the set. Nice face breaker lands, and Legacy Esports, baby, Oceania's on the board.
At least they fighting back. You like to be able to see it, because that was a free INTZ Drake initially because Tally had to go back to base, right?
Yes.
And I was starting to feel like this is just getting a little bit too unfair, because they're just catching these moments, communicating out, you know, these timings really well and effectively. And INTZ got a Drake, and it looked like they had a way out, but Tally wasn't going to let that slide.
Nope, Tally on the set, making sure he gets the face breaker there. You can see the Nautilus trying to escape here from some of the damage. And let's talk about Tally, particularly on this set, because this is a player who switched to mid this year after being a top laner for 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm really not surprised the man has set in his champion pool. It makes sense. Now let's look at how this popped off here yet again as Isles goes for the flash engage with the Gren.
Yeah, and they thought that, you know, the Bard E was off cooldown because they got to see it in bot lane. Was able to come back up, and from the moment it came back up, I was like, all right, well, they get a free way out. Set was able to get a great flash, great stun off E. These are just wonderful things, at least from Legacy's point of view, where they're able to at least get something back, a trade kill for the Dragon. So at least it's working out well for them on that department, and the kill ended up going to Babip, who was struggling in the early game.
Babip having that extra kill, making it so he can go back and get that Runic Echoes completed. Nice power spike there that helps out on the clear. Also makes sure the mana is always topped off. Honestly, just a wonderful item all around. Combined with the Skirmisher Saber means he has plenty of dueling power. So easy for Nidalee with her ranged auto attacks in human form to be able to apply that debuff with the red smite. As Tay finds himself in a pretty bad spot here against Tapoon and has to immediately drop the Hemo Plague. Going into the Sanguine Pool now as well. Hook shot goes through. That is not what he was looking for, and now after tanking a turret shot, Tapoon is in some trouble. Considering Tay already had to flash away, he won't be able to chase down this kill, but a little bit of an error there with the flash.
He was calm, he was slow. I loved what Tapoon was doing at the beginning because he knew he had lethal. But then his misflash. And he took a tower shot. It hurts, man.
He had lethal and then Rag didn't go face. Feels bad. But either way, Tapoon still at 0-0-0 here. Seeing if maybe he can set up a play as his jungler is looking to arrive. His mid laner as well. Sanguine Pool from Tay, finding a little bit of damage. Spear will not connect onto the Vladimir. Tally is there. Phase breaker, playmaker, baby. Tapoon picks up the kill, and it's a 2-0 game for Oceania.
Oh my god, that's 2 waves, too. That's a giga
tragic.
wave you're losing if you're the Vladimir.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's horrible.
I mean, yeah, Volleybear's all right with it. He's like, oh no, now I have to take the wave.
Oh, woe is me.
Oh, woe is him, but man, woe is Tay. No teleport, no way to get back there and pick that up. I mean, at least he's got his CDR garage sale for items. He's got his Kindle Gem, he's got his Fiendish Codex, but losing all that gold and all that EXP, big feels Badman. As Legacy Esports now can bring their top laner over with their jungler to take down this Rift Herald. Should be able to pick it up right around 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Once again, means they'll be able to use the entire duration of it to guarantee they'll be getting some plates and put more money in their pockets. Whereas this team is already up about 2,000 gold here 10 minutes in.
That was probably the biggest turning point this game. Unless if it goes like any which way, right? Like the fact that you came into this game saying that the Vladimir and the Camille, like if you can get past lane, if you can get through the multiple attempts at your life that Camille's going to be going, it's not even just going to be the Camille, it's going to be Nidalee, it's going to be Set. They're going to be aiming for you. If you get past that, like Vladimir's a great pick with your composition. But like it's relentless. They finally got it, and it was at the worst timer for INTZ because not only does he lose the 2 waves with no TP coming back, they lose the Rift Herald, and where's the Rift Herald going to go? It's going top lane. It has to go to Tapoon. You're not going to put it on the Set. That's useless money. You're not going to put it on the Tristana, who's doing fine for herself. It's going to be Tapoon, who's been having a great game so far.
And I want to talk about something that I think Tapoon did is very smart with his itemization. Itemization is a very hot topic in League of Legends right now. Everybody talks about how teams and players are just losing to Boris with poor itemization choices. I think Tapoon did something optimal here. He bought Grievous Wounds right now. He still completed his Sheen first because he didn't feel that he needed the healing reduction early on because Vladimir's cooldowns are still too high to be constantly healing. But now he's got it as Vlad is hitting that point where he's about to become dangerous, especially with Sheeny right next to him. Volleybear's coming in, but a nice Hextech ultimatum to dodge away from the damage of the ulti. Sheeny with the flash over the wall. Bard coming in now, looking to maybe find the lockdown. There is your stun, beautifully done. Tapoon is out, and Bobip grabs the kill onto Sheeny. So it's a 1-for-1. Nighty-night to the Nidalee, but nobody's going to be waking her up from those sweet dreams. She will get back to the base just fine. Nice little skirmish up in the top side from both teams.
Yeah, you got to thank Redbird on a timely roam up top side to even that one out. Thought it was looking good for Legacy at the beginning, though. I'm sure we'd see the replay on that one. But overall, I think Legacy was trying to make the play towards top side to get Rift Herald going. It seemed like that was the idea, and it was pushed back. So this game's looking good. 2 kills now for Babip, who was behind really early on. Early game strategy looked great for INTZ, and sometimes it can just fall to pieces. Now bot side throwing down that Herald. And I think they have a lot of good support here. And remember, Redbird actually used his Bard ultimate topside, so he's not going to be able to defend the turret on this one.
Yep, Shelly gets to charge for free. There's only 20% HP left, but now the play's coming in. Now INTZ is trying to force the fight. Isles taken low, tries to get himself away from that one. The Nidalee flashes, but for no good reason. The kill was guaranteed, and now the summoner spell is gone too. Good pickup there from INTZ. Nothing they could do about the turret, but they get the kill in return, and they stop that jungler from getting stronger. More importantly, they get the kill on the enemy jungler as this second Drake is up. I pointed out earlier about how it was a very early first Drake secure compared to the other 2 games of this day so far. And that means that the second one is already available here 13 minutes in. INTZ are able to grab it, go up 2-0 in Drake's. Early pull coming out from Taze Vladimir, as now they're re-engaging. They know he doesn't have the aggro drop any longer. The Haymaker comes out, and Tally grabs the kill, running away on the set. The turret cannot get the return kill, and there's money across Summoner's Rift in INTZ pockets. Bottom lane kill plus Drake, top lane kill plus plates. It's all coming in.
Yeah, Legacy was beneficial being able to get the kill on Vladimir. This, I will say, like, a lot of praises will come towards INTZ and how they played that bot lane. I think it was just a misplay from Legacy, because being able to get that bot lane turret, great. You don't have to pick that fight. That felt like just Babip not recognizing that the exhaust was available. Because the Nautilus ultimate was perfect from Isles. You can disengage completely. You don't have to lose Dragon for that, though. You don't necessarily have to fight for it. All of these things where it was just Legacy making the play bot side. And then they feed into the play, that's fine. And then this is why you sign Tally to your team.
Yup.
That man makes the play instantly towards the top side to get the advantage there for Tapoon. The man, I know you talked about him playing for years and years as a top laner. When I was working on Oceania,
4 years.
He actually was originally an AD carry.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
At that time, I actually thought he was top 2. Like, that was when Radier stepped down. There was Radier King, all these, like, that's the history of Oceania. This man is a multi-role talent, and he's a veteran of the game. So even though he had like a bit of a hiatus, he came back. They valued the fact that he's actually just too smart about the game, and it's working out well here.
Yeah. I apologize. I misspoke earlier saying that the play went the way of INTZ in the top side. Clearly, it was Legacy who managed to make things happen. And now Legacy are the ones who have to try to get their top laner out there. Tapoon does use the flash and escape, even though the Tempered Fate would have connected onto him. 1, 1, and 2 on this Camille with the Trinity Force done next to those grievous wounds on the Executioner's Calling. He's in good combat shape here 15 minutes into the game. Mid lane, you can see Tally's got himself that hoodie to make sure that he won't take quite as much damage from Envy Zoe. But in terms of the itemization he's actually pursuing, it's the Sunfire Cape that looks to be the first completed item.
All right, looks like Tapoon's got to play this one out respectfully. This shouldn't turn into anything. This should just be, getting vision for topside, so Ezreal can play this one out as safe as he could. Just taking a step back and just looking at the composition, Legacy do have a split push threat with their Camille, but they don't have it necessarily with the set. I think it's just going to be a 1-4 from their side, and they want to look to force fights whenever they can, or at least that's what it looks like for me. Looking at INTZ's side, it's a lot of range with Ezreal and Zoe that they should just be abusing. So Babip has to really be aware of his positioning here. When he's fighting for vision alongside Isles, they can really get chipped down. So the fact that they're getting strong vision for the objectives that they have is a good start.
One thing I want to point out too here, again discussing some itemization, really like the choice on the Nidalee to go for Sorcerer's Shoes plus Oblivion Orb after the Runic Echoes. Yeah. I very much think this is the right call. When you look at the fact that the rest of the team is all AD, look at the enemy itemization. There is no reason for them to prioritize MR when you're up against a Camille and Tristana and set like that. And this means that Babip's spears are now at a point where he's got double M-Pen items against 0 MR. These spears could be game breakers here in these mid-game fights if he can land some big ones in clutch moments or even just poke people out before the fights are ever even allowed to come to fruition. Now, speaking of fights, that next Drake will be spawning here in a little over 1 minute. And Raz, I think it's about time that Legacy has to start answering these. Considering INTZ got the first 2, if you give them 1 more, you're now at that troublesome point where you have to fight for every single Drake for the rest of the game or they get sold.
And I think they did a good job here, even though you can see INTZ taking a lot of great control through mid. Oh no, please.
Oh, he buffered it and flew through the air as a golden statue. Teleports coming in from both sides. Isles tanking up at the front, goes Drowsy, goes into stasis. INTZ are able to find the damage. Tapoon walks himself away. Tally looks for the chance to maybe make something happen, but it's just not there. INTZ with a disengage, Envy still looking to find a little bit of damage here with the paddle stars, but once more, the chase can't happen for either side.
Yeah.
Tapoon takes damage from the True Shot Barrage. He has no teleport to join this. Remember, the teleports were used from both teams, from both top laners to get into that fight. Oh, that was cheeky from Envy. Zoe there interrupting the backs, keeping these guys away. INTZ doing their damnedest.
Oh no.
Pull this area and make sure they're ready. Tally stepping away from what could have been a stun. Drake spawning here in about 5 seconds. Control over the area is INTZ's. They're all walking back to the mid lane now together.
Yeah, getting control through mid first, and then they're going to be playing for the Drake. I was singing praises for Legacy at the very beginning of it because they had Camille play through topside base, wants to go through mid, because at that point, Vladimir's not going to be a part of the play, right? It's going to be Legacy getting full control, and this is the fight that they're looking for. It might be on top of Vladimir.
Okay, having to use the pool there to get himself away, loses about half of his HP. Zoe finds the trouble level down onto Isles, but Paddlestar won't follow it up, just Mystic Shot. Now, although Shelly didn't get the turret mid, there were no plates for her to take either. The thing that she did was she moved INTZ out of the river, removed their priority, and allowed Legacy to have control over this bottom part of the map, which meant they were able to take the Drake and stop that soul stacking, very important.
It's a smart way to use Rift Herald. Remember, we talked about the 3 separate ways in which you can use it. Either just get as the turret playing for your main man so you can get rich. Second one was just going to be getting the full turret plate, so you're going to make full rotations towards the turret so you can actually get the full turret. Or get Dragon Control because you're pushing them away from vision. A lot of the times, like I saw initially from LPL teams at the beginning of the year, and you know, props to Samuel Broadley from Golden Guardians, like the work that we did behind the scenes, and even just like a lot of the effort, just being able to study LPL and watch the fact that you can just throw down Rift Herald mid lane. Enemy team has to concede what they have, because if they just throw away their mid lane turf for the vision that they have on Dragon, that's not a good trade.
No, you're throwing away a guaranteed amount of map presence and protection in a turret for hopefully we can win this Drake fight in exchange.
Exactly, and so had to respond to it. It was smart from Legacy because they knew that they made the mistake earlier on in the play. Had to regain control, and they did it properly. And so now have a Mountain Dragon to the soul, denied a third Drake to INTZ, play this game a little longer.
And talking about Legacy, I already gave you the fun fact about how they evolved so much in terms of their win rate from the previous year compared to this year. Another thing to point out, this is a team that has seen international appearance before, but the last time we saw Legacy Esports on the international stage was 2014 in the Wild Card tournament. We don't even have that anymore. Tristana getting caught out here in the mid lane. Reyes could be in some trouble. The stun down onto Isles. Reyes nearly killed. Here comes the forward play from the Ezreal. It's one already dead on the side of LGC, one on INTZ. Tally trying to find something here in retaliation. Sheeny barely hanging on to life here on the Volley Bear. The Nidalee Spear almost takes him down. Tapoon is in the bottom lane. He's set up to apply some pressure onto this tier 2. 1-for-1 trade in that mid lane fight.
And I think this is what Legacy should be confident in. They have the side lane. They don't have to pressure too much through mid lane and start pulling the Camille to your lane. She's doing a great job as is. So, I mean, Tapoon right now, I think he's having a really good game. Shockingly enough, I think that with how scrappy this game has been, he's made the more stable calls. So taking a look at this, it must have been started out from the play from Redbird, being able to pick off Raze, and it looked good from INTZ at the start.
And then Raze gets jumped on. Exhaust looks like it might have been able to keep him alive, but just not quite. The Ezreal has enough damage to take him down. Sheeny runs away. Look at that spear. So close to finding the kill onto the Volley Bear. And Raz, I feel like Legacy has been sitting on this 5,000 gold lead for a while now.
Yeah.
5,000 gold 20 minutes into the game is quite an obstacle to climb here for INTZ. The engages must be effective. They must be coordinated. Good CC there onto Reyes from Redbird, making sure he can provide the opportunity for some damage from Macau. Envy's still off the side, and see some pings going through. Reyes nearly going to be killed, and now Tapoon's joined the fight. He finds the Hextech ultimatum onto the enemy AD carry, but now he's the one who's got to be running away. Nice shift coming out from Macau, but he's not quite able to find the kill, and Bobbit gets in and cleans him up. The low health bars are just baiting INTZ into a bad situation. Tally's able to find the ulti onto the volley bear, face breaker onto 2, but now Tally's in trouble. Now Tally's having to run
somebody.
away. The pool coming out from the Vladimir. They get the kill into Bob. How in the hell did Tally walk away from that one alive as well?
That's 3 people you could have killed.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, doesn't matter. They weren't able to find them. And INTZ, they lose their AD carry, they kill the enemy jungler. At the end of all that, what looked like so many people so close to death's door, it's a 1-for-1.
And earlier you talked about the gold advantage Legacy have, but the comp that INTZ has is still very punishing with the poke that they got. So like, watching Raze throughout this game try and get mid control, it's way too hard. There's so many tools that are just being thrown your way, not just the Bard ultimate, Ezreal Qs just striking him down. It's just so difficult for him to ever be tasked through mid wave. That's 2 members that you would have been able to kill. And even with Tally coming back, remember, Vladimir, a lot of DPS. Not a lot you can do here if you're Tally, if you want to be able to make an impact. You don't have much people following up here. So I thought he would have died too.
Yeah, it looked like for sure Hemoplague would have been able to bite him, but the natural regeneration that Set gets when he's very low health was just enough to keep him alive. Mid lane tier 1 has fallen on the side of Legacy, and INTZ are working their way over to the Mountain Drake. Last time around, they didn't have priority over this river. They could not secure it. This time around, they see the enemy top laner up there on the tier 2. Tapoon without a teleport cannot make it down here, and that means INTZ will put themselves on Soul Point, now demanding an answer from Legacy at each subsequent dragon. Tay is exhausted as he goes for the Hemoplague onto Isles, re-engage with the Dredge line. Redbird is right there looking for the stun onto the enemy support, and Isles is gone. Pickup kill for INTZ.
INTZ are just catching Legacy off guard time and again. It's the most frustrating part about this game, if you're an Oceanic fan for Legacy, is that Tapoon knows how he wants to play this game out. He can always push Tay underneath his turret. Like, he will always have move. And so, Legacy should understand that they're never going to get moved priorly through mid lane. They have to wait on their side lane timers, but they're not. Raze pushes the wave in too much alongside Isles, gets caught off guard. It pulls Tapoon towards them, and so it turns into these fights.
Macau, I couldn't even say he was in trouble before he's already dead. Ezreal, his 2nd death of the game, getting picked off here as Legacy find the kill onto the enemy AD carry. They take away the blue buff. But what else is there to get, Raz? Grabbing just a kill onto an AD carry? Yeah, it's cool, fantastic, 300 gold. Pack a blue buff onto it? Sure, a little bit of a bonus prize, but I'm not phoning home to tell mom and dad about how excited I am on this pick just yet. There needs to be something more on the back end of it, more control over the enemy territory, more setup, more wards, more turrets, and it looks like we'll get that here in the mid lane as they finally have the firepower to take down the tier 1.
Yeah, I see them leaning towards the top side. I would have liked them to actually lean bot side so then you can get the turret on the bot side of the map and hover for Tapoon. But they're getting a lot for this play. I love it. You do not want to play reserved when you've been seeing INTZ take so much with the leads that they've been getting.
Ooh, nice sidestep there from Bobip, just barely getting out of the way of the Tempered Fate, making sure that Redbird couldn't engage on him with that one as Envy finds some damage onto Isles, who pops the Gargoyle's Stone Plate, but considering there's not at least 3 enemies nearby, it doesn't give him a ton of bonus health.
Yeah.
He's not worried about getting killed just from that one. There wasn't enough backup nearby from INTZ to be able to bring him down, so... Tally's setting up this split push here, top side. Doesn't want to super overextend himself. They don't really have vision on a lot of different players from the enemy squad. Even though Redbird's ulti is down, that's still a Bard. He will still be able to chase you very effectively. And the Shirelia's Reverie from Redbird, also a very important item for INTZ being able to work together and find these picks.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you always ask yourself what the next objective is going to be.
Okay.
For me, it's going to be Dragon. And if you're a team like Legacy and you have such side lane pressure, you want to be able to get the plan started early, start pushing in side lanes, and then force them to be able to hit these huge waves. If you can do that effectively, then the vision control is all yours. And even if they contest for it, then they don't know where you are. Like Tapoon right now set up in the bot side of the map, because then if there's ever a contest from INTZ, he's immediately in a flank position. So this is a great spot. They do need to get their actual control wards down. And use their red trinket if they want to do this, because they're just sitting on a lot of enemy vision.
Now, sweeping away some of that vision right now, Isles is trying to maintain control over this mid lane for his squad. The Nautilus has been in a couple of sketchy situations here so far, but honestly only one death on his belt, not feeling too bad. 6,000 gold lead for Legacy, 1.5 minutes until that Drake comes up. 4 turret to 1 lead on the map overall. INTZ has struggled making progress and having meaningful impact on these enemy objectives so far. They just haven't been in a spot to turn any of their kills into those big advantages afterwards. Now, Scuttle Crab is secured in the top side river there, picking that up, guaranteeing some of the vision around that zone, making sure it's harder for INTZ to do what they want to do in that area as the mid lane is pushed out. But this is the one turret that INTZ has been able to take Raz. So it's not like you can grab any damage onto a turret, try to sneak away an objective right there. Sub 1 minute until Drake spawns, and I like how early INTZ are here. They're not waiting to get set up with sub 30 seconds left. They already want to be down there clearing out those wards.
Yeah, and INTZ have been a team, especially domestically, that at this point in time, they're not going to just sack a wave. They're going straight for Raze.
Raze, oh! Wow! Nicely done, coordinating the Paddle Star and the True Shot Barrage. I'd say they threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, but I think if you paused the clip and looked at the projectiles, that was in there too. The man gets annihilated. And INTZ with the pick on the enemy AD carry have set up a situation that could be a Drake Soul. Now Tapoon sees this opportunity and goes for the TP into the top lane, going after the inhibitor turret. Now what is INTZ going to do to answer this? Tay has gone back to the base. Tally could be in some trouble. Tries to flash away, still going to get stunned into the wall. Bard Q is something else sometimes. Tay in the 1v1 against the Camille trying to deal with that, but the inhibitor has already fallen. Sheeny is left to the Mountain Drake on his lonesome, and look at what Legacy are doing. They're still hanging out in the top side of the map. They're around the Baron pit.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Moved over to help the Volley Bear take down this dragon a little bit faster. Legacy don't have the resources to be able to do the Baron completely. That is Mountain Soul going the way of INTZ, but the trade for the Soul is the top lane inhib. Vladimir was not able to deal with Camille in a 1v1 situation, despite the fact it's a level 16 Vlad with 2 items. He just can't do it quite yet. So Legacy, they lost their AD carry, they knew the Soul fight was doomed, and they got what they could get in trade. Now there's deciding, hey, this is our go button, we're going after the Baron. INTZ must respond.
Yeah, they do. They got Earth, Soul, they should go for this fight. I think they scaled better as a team, but they're just going to outright lose.
Oh, the Baron's already taken, and now the fight is going to be breaking out. Sheeny's on the front line. He's trapped in the Hextech ultimatum. He has to flash to get himself away, but the rest of INTZ is now coming in. Look at Raze. He is fearless going after this Ezreal. He jumps right back into the fight, looking to find even more damage. Tally's going to grab the ulti onto Macau, looking to find the Haymaker, maybe the Playmaker for the damage, and now Tay is in there. There's some bad blood on the battlefield. The Hemo Plague will wipe them out. 2 players still alive on Legacy. They still have the Baron, but the rest of the team is dead.
When you see scrappy games like these, you can feel that desperation coming through. Because even though Legacy had the goal lead, they knew that at some point, the clock's ticking. Vladimir is going to be huge. The Soul being picked up by INTZ, they'll just be a team fight force, so they had to go for the Baron run here, and they saw their opportunity in the fight. Volibear's already gone, and Raze, amazing, finds the pick on Envy and thinks he can get more. He lives for these moments. But the moment Tay comes in, all right, my bad. I didn't mean nothing by it. Take that step back and respect what Vladimir's coming with.
All right. Overall, the gold difference between the teams didn't change. A Baron power play of +23 so far.
Thinking emoji.
Not the most, yeah, we'll put a couple thinking emojis. This is one of those situations where you got to spam at least 3 of them at a time just to really get your point across. But hey, maybe it'll work out. Maybe. Look at the itemization on the Nidalee now. Has the Morello Namicon completed? Not really a sin in this game when you're up against a Vladimir, when you have to deal with a Volley Bear as well. Bard also having some healing powers. Having the extra Grievous Wounds application is very useful against those champions. 6,000 gold lead's going to balloon a little bit higher now as Tapoon takes down that tier 2 in the bottom lane. Remember, it is Nidalee and Tristana, the only 2 champions that have the Baron ready to go. That is inconvenient for Legacy because Tapoon is the one who wants to be split pushing, but he needs somebody else next to him to have that Baron enchantment on the minions. Sleepy Trouble Bubble found its way onto Reyes, and the rest of the team has to protect him. Now he's in some trouble again as the True Shot One-shot barrage comes through. Rest of the team cannot engage.
Here we go.
Front line, he's being juggled around. They're going to take him down. Volley Bear ulti used defensively, getting himself away. Tapoon going to be bursted. Hemo Plague comes through. Tapoon's going to die, and Tay takes the kill. Now Tally's on the run, and INTZ are on the chase. It's a 5 versus 4 on the map. They'll try to continue pursuing this, but their opponents do have spears that they can throw backwards. They have a lot of speed between their champions. Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes through.
You can chase all day.
Sidestep it, they get out of the way. Redbird's still chasing after him, but the Bard ulti was already used to start the previous fight off. It's not ready to go here again. INTZ not willing to back away. Tally's still hanging around. Isle's still hanging around. Bottom lane tier 1 turret still up. Envy's hanging out in this brush. The ward sees where he's at, so Legacy should not end up in a bad spot here just yet. Sheeny on the Volley Bear, still here in the fight, has about 2/3 of his health ready to go, and INTZ say, nope, not worth it. Everybody back.
All right, Envy might be in a pretty tough position, but Bard is just saving him. Take a look at how much damage now the set's taking.
And now the Bard ulti's ready to go here again. This is why Bard is always banned against INTZ, sports fans. Isle stuck in the middle of everybody, and it is a slaughter. Legacy Esports will have no legacy left to speak of if INTZ has anything to say about it. Tay goes on a rampage. The Vladimir has scaled. Welcome to Count Vladland.
He is huge this game. 304 CS because they were actually letting him push for a long time while INTZ was absorbing the pressure that Legacy had with the last Baron. They know that the carry is going to be Tay this game.
Just like it was in the previous game against Mad Lions. Of course, they were not able to win, but it was Tay with a very impressive performance on the Urgot. This time around, man, Redbird, I feel like sometimes maybe you're going up against a team from another region and you hear, yeah, you got to ban Bard against these guys. Like, that's just what you do. You got to ban Bard against them. You're thinking, okay, yeah, that's cool, but we're probably better than the teams they play against, so we don't got to ban Bard. And then this kind of stuff happens.
It's just sad. It's sad watching a set trying to look for the fight and then just being so helpless because of the slows being basically pushed through. And you're right about Redbird's Bard. The entire game, he's been punishing the AD's positioning. They're in the position that they are now because of the countless picks that they've had on Raze this game. He's 1-3-1. A lot of it's because of that golden circle hitting them time and again.
And you can see that lovely mountain range of blue there in your gold graph. The mountains are starting to get a little bit shorter. Not a lot just yet. Still a 4,000 gold lead here for Legacy Esports, but Bard ulti comes through again. Redbird followed up on that one, thinking he might be able to find the stun, and now Sheeny's underneath the turret. He's got it disabled with the ulti. Reyes running away. Maul of Malmortius keeping him protected. INTZ looking for the push onto the tier 2. They've got the minion wave. They can do the damage. The backdoor bonus is not active. Tier 2 turret should fall. Sayonara, see you later. Thanks for all your trouble. Give me the money. Elder Drake is alive back in the base. What's this? It's Tapoon making sure he's in the split push situation every single time. TP's coming in. Flash away coming out from Sheeny. Isles walks himself out. Sleepy Trouble Bubble down onto a different target. Bibap not going to be killed by that just yet. INTZ still looking to respond here to the fight. Reyes coming around from the side. Reyes going to be in some trouble. Tally's having the kill onto Macau. Over the wall comes the projectile. Envy gets the kill into Reyes. And now Legacy is once again in a losing fight. INTZ looks for the rest of the damage onto the set, onto the Nidalee, but a nice kill coming out from the two of them together. So much tankiness. The Haymaker blocking the burst. A beautiful outplay from these two players of Legacy Esports. This is the kind of thing that can change a game. So perfectly timed by the set. Very well done by the Nidalee. Redbird is down. The man is cougar food. That's the kind of fight that Legacy needs to keep themselves in this game.
This game is a chock full of messes and a chock full of creativity from Legacy. Always trying to pressure INTZ to respect that side lane. They had Camille and Set up there. Set says, okay, you got this. I got you. I'll TP to the fight. And they're fighting for that Elder.
Elder Drake is alive. Vlad is here to try to stop him. Nidalee has no smite. The Elder Drake is fully stealable by the Vladimir because Vlad does not have a smite to be able to secure this. Vladimir right back into the pit. Okay, Elder Drake secured. That was big. They couldn't afford to lose that one. Down. Breathe your breath, Mr. Elder Drake. That damage is extreme. And Legacy are feeling good about the outcome of the last minute of play.
And Cap, this game is turned around again.
My goodness. This is the kind of action I want to see from Worlds competition. Back and forth and back and forth. Let's take another look at this chaotic fight from Tally's point of view.
Something like this can mess up so easily. And Ezreal was trying to E Blink as, of course, the ultimate was coming through from set. Still gets the pick on him. And all of this was happening, and they didn't even know necessarily what the fight was going to look like, right? They're just playing so desperately, recognizing that at some point, we just need to play for our carry here. And he tanks so much, just so, and resources as well from the Zoe, so Nidalee can go ham in this fight.
Yeah. His entire job is to be the meatball. Nidalee is the sauce. And he absolutely popped off when he needed to in that fight, providing that damage. The haymaker timing also, so important to make sure that the Zoe was not able to find the kill onto the set and then outplay after the fact. The two had to both be working together, both be on the same page, and they found that success. Now they've got this Elder Dragon buff for another minute or so. And if you're on the side of INTZ, you need to avoid fighting during that minute. They've got Baron on the power play as well for the side of Legacy Esports. They'll have that one for another 2 minutes.
Avoid that
INTZ can't hold out for 2. They at least got to hold out for 1.
Yeah.
Because a double uber buff enemy team is not something you can deal with. Tapoon takes down the top lane inhibitor, and the push continues here in mid.
Legacy, I think they taste blood right now.
Oh, yeah.
They got that top inhib, and they're aiming for 2. They should be able to get it off this push here. This is going to be their last push, 30 seconds still on with the Elder, but they're going to use Tapoon's push here, and he's going to try and find the flank. At least he should. I think it's definitely something that's advisable. You don't want to double down too much on it, because Vladimir will still have a great counter engage ready for him. But if they can't get anything here, I think INTZ can actually force something in 10 seconds time with Redbird's Bard ulti.
Bottom lane tier 3 turret.
This could be it.
More shots from that cannon minion, and there you go. It's gone. Elder buff has dissipated. Execution no longer available. Stun onto Tally doesn't mean anything. You cannot afford to initiate onto the set. Inhibitor is gone. That's Inhibitor now in 2 lanes. Reyes is jumped on. Ezreal moving forward, looking to find the damage. Volibear now chasing. Ulti is used. Tay's been killed. At the onset of the fight, they're able to find the kill onto the enemy Vlad, but it's going to be a trade 1-for-1. Top laners are down. Sheenie's still tanking up at the front line. Tally going to be doing the same. Sheenie's out of the picture. Reyes grabbing the kill. Now INTZ have to try to hold the line as a 3-man. They managed to pick the kill onto the enemy Nautilus. Tally's still chasing after him. Face Breaker's not going to find the target. Stunned up into the wall yet again by the Bard. INTZ in a 3v3. You lose this inhib, you are drowning in a sea of super minions for the next 5 minutes, and it looks like they forgot to bring their scuba gear. Legacy Esports still continuing to put the screws to INTZ and go for the win right here. Sleepy Trouble bubble down onto Reyes, but the follow-up isn't there in time to be able to take advantage of the situation. Reyes continuing the push. He's got Bobbit right next to him for the heals. He's got Tally in front of him to be able to provide the tanking. Look at how quickly the turrets fall. Now it's Bard trying to stop him. It's Mikal trying to get away, and Reyes says no. The amount of damage coming out from Legacy Esports is extreme, and Oceania will find their first win of Worlds 2020.
Woo! They were digging in that dirt, my man. That was a grimy, hard-fought game from Legacy because, like, it's fine in the moment when you make mistakes. Don't think too much about them. You can talk about what to do, better next time, but you have to always think about the next play. Legacy did that. Tapoon was a huge carry for this team because every single time mistakes happen, was back on that side lane. Knew that you had to go top lane for that inhib top side. And then INTZ were overwhelmed with that pressure. Tally came in hot in these team fights. I thought when things got rough, Legacy got rougher. They kept fighting, they got stronger. It's nice to see them kind of be able to recover in that fashion.
Things were really shaky there in the mid game, despite still always having that 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 gold lead. INTZ was striking back, but for me, man, the play that cemented it, the fight that defined the game, was that absolutely chaotic moment just south of the river, inside the Legacy jungle, and the outplay 2v3 by Tally and Bobbit working together with the Set and the Nidalee to outplay Volibear and Zoe and Bard, killing off the volley, dealing with the Zoe, absorbing the damage correctly, and then addressing Bard after the fact. That led to the Elder Drake, which led to the Baron, which made it so this team was able to push up and secure the win in the game. That fight was just, that is the moment right there.
Yeah, and I think it's just